for eternity.
Welcome, fiends, to another segment of the Horror Mike Show live on Friday night. Well, if you haven't guessed it, we're covering two topics tonight. Okay, we are going to take a little break on the 1960s films. We're coming back next week with a rather spectacular finale for the 1960s flicks, with some films you definitely know and love, and some films you probably never heard of. So you're going to want to check it out next Friday night. That is our 1960s sci-fi and horror film finale. So be there or be MC squared. In any case, tonight we are covering two things. And as you just saw, one of them is going to be the hotties of the Friday the 13th movie series. Yes, we folks, we are going to rate the hottest babes in the Friday the 13th series. Now, there's something to keep in mind with this. There's two things, two kinds of gals in the Friday the 13th films. One are the final girls, and that's kind of where the whole idea of final girls came from, right? Original 1980 Sean Cunningham film. Of course, Friday the 13th. And typically speaking, the final girls were the ones that were kind of like straight-laced. They weren't nearly as promiscuous as the other girls. who often got naked and had sex before horrible deaths in the movies, if you recall. So we've got the final girls, and then we've got, of course, the promiscuous babes. And we're going to be focusing on those promiscuous babes tonight, folks. That's what we're talking about. With a few of the final girls in there for good measure, because a few of them were hot. Most of them are just kind of cute, if you know what I mean. But we want to get to the hotness of Friday the 13th tonight, and we are. We are going to take a look at a ton of babes. You may have seen the video. I released it earlier today. It's basically about the same thing. But I figured that it would work very well as a live and interactive type of thing, because I know a lot of you guys have seen many of the Friday the 13th films. Look, some of those films are just crap. I'll just come out with, I mean, there's freaking horrible movies. However, even if they happen to be bad films, they do have that redeeming quality of hot Friday the 13th babes. So that's what we're focusing in on tonight. But first, we're going to cover the third installment of the Sci-Fi Horror Book of the Month Club. And tonight, of course, it is H.P. Lovecraft's immortal novella, The Shadow over Innsmouth, and how that stacks up to the couple of adaptations, film adaptations. One is a strange Japanese adaptation we'll be looking at a little bit. And of course, the other one is the quite famous and beloved Dagon from Stuart Gordon from 2001. And basically, Dagon is a combination of The Shadow over Innsmouth and Dagon. And he does it right. It's rightly so, because they are interconnected. They're definitely, absolutely connected. The order of Dagon and all that stuff goes right into The Shadow over Innsmouth. So I think he did a great job with that. There are a couple of things. There are a couple of bones I could pick, about the Stuart Gordon adaptation. Of course, any film, any adaptation, you're going to there's going to be something about it. But we're going to compare and contrast to the novella, which is absolutely fantastic. I hope some of you guys listened. There's some great audio. There's great narration of The Shadow over Innsmouth. Wayne June, Conrad Feininger, and the other chap from Horror Babble. Ian Gordon, I believe is his name. Ian Gordon. Those three guys and more. But I think those three guys are the tops as far as narrators for that story. They're on YouTube. Highly recommended if you haven't checked them out already. So that's what we're going to dive into first, folks. The horror of Innsmouth. Oh, yes. But of course, naturally, first we're going to have to go to the chat. But right before the chat, folks, and right before the Friday the 13th and Dagon trailer, you saw the trailer to my film, Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1, which is currently on Amazon for rent for a mere $2. Folks, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $2 goodbye. I mean, what the hell? That's so damn cheap, I can't even believe it. I'm just totally freaking, amazed myself that I'm renting the damn thing for $2, but I am. And there's the link to Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1. It is 2 hours long, 6 original sci-fi horror segments. Only one of those segments is supernatural horror, and some topics that are quite relevant today, including bio-nanotechnology in there, and cordyceps fungi. Oh, yeah. And this time accurate, folks, not like that BS freaking whatever the hell, The Last of Us or whatever the hell that silly thing was. That's not cordyceps fungus, folks. That's some idiot's ignorant idea of cordyceps fungus. What cordyceps fungus does to insects is far more horrifying, and the idea of that doing to the same thing to mammals is freaking horrifying. That's what I do in my story, The Cordyceps Principle, which is part of Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1. So you may want to check that out. But yeah, okay, folks. That was my little plug. And now we're going to go to the chat and see who the heck is in here. I Am One of Us is here. Hello, I Am One of Us. Good to see you, my good man. Radamus is here. Back in the saddle again. Werewolf by Lunchtime is in the house. Dave James is here. Hello, Dave James. Good to see you. Eric Boyd is here. Hello, Eric Boyd. Good to see you, man. Scary Saturday the 14th, which was also a movie. Happened to be a comedy, but in any case, Werewolf is in the future, so he's watching this Saturday morning, folks. He's missed the Friday night. Well, he already got his Friday the 13th. Jollies, let's say. Friday the 13th, Jollies. K-Ojo is here. Hello, K-Ojo. Oh, and Radamus knows that. Saturday the 14th. Thomas Fairfall is here. Hello, Thomas Fairfall. Good to see you, my good man. People saying howdy. Radamus says, I'm really digging this music, Mike. Okay, well, if that you're talking about the trailer music, that was music I actually added to the video that I edited, because using the original soundtrack is the stuff that's going to get you demonetized real quick. So I added my own special mix, music mix, if you will. Jason X, Jason Voorhees gets an upgrade. That's what they should have called it. Jason X, one of my favorite Friday the 13th films. It may be my second favorite, next to the original Sean Cunningham 1980 Friday the 13th, simply because it's actually, to a certain degree, it's a parody of the Friday the 13th films. There should have been a freaking parody, and they did a great job, and we're going to see more of that. Oh boy, the V-Deck teens. Okay, that's what we're talking about, hitting the V-Deck tonight, folks. This is so damn hilarious. Dave James Sawyer, Night of the Demons video, folks. It's up. Just released that a couple of days ago. Well, actually yesterday. What the fuck am I talking about? It was Thursday afternoon. Horror Mike's been a busy beaver, folks. Any movie that starts with Linnea's ass in the air is not to be missed, in my opinion. I second that, Dave James. You folks, if you have not seen Night of the Demons, the original, the 1988 version, not the freaking remake 2009 version. It's largely crap, in my opinion. Watch the original. Great soundtrack, really cool special effects, really hot babes, including Linnea Quigley and Amelia Kincaid. Boy, can that chick shake her damn booty. Okay, folks, Amelia Kincaid. She was the main demon squeeze, the one with the black hair that gets all really hideous and shit. But she does that really fine dance number to the tune of Bauhaus and Stigmata Martyr, I believe was the name of that song. That is a hot, scorching hot scene. I mean, they don't have shit in that 2009 version. Forget it. Brian Bow is here. Hello, Brian Bow. Good to see you. I'll watch anything with Linnea Quigley in it. Whoop. K-Ocho says, was that Quigley's peaches, I guess I saw in the video? Yes, you did. Oh, God, yeah. And what she does with the lipstick and those peaches. Holy crap. Well, you at least you saw Jason X. The 2009 film is a pile of shit. Uh, you know, that I'm just going to put it out there. It's that, and you guys know that. It's just, I couldn't even watch the whole thing. However, that being said, it is a pile of shit. But there are a couple of freaking unbelievable hotties in the 2009 film, which is, we will be seeing them tonight, folks, because as much as I detest that film, I gotta hand it to them. They really, there's some good scenes with those babes, and we're gonna be checking that out. Brian Baugh says, in the redeeming quality of fun gore effects. Yes, really good gore effects. I'm assuming you're talking about Night of the Demons. Steve Johnson, of course. If you guys watch the video, Linnea Quigley went in to get her breast prosthetics for the famous lipstick scene. She met Steve Johnson. Soon after that, they were married. That's how things go in Horrorwood land. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Steve Johnson, that lucky bugger. I don't know what happened to that marriage or anything, but man, back at that time, 1988, are you freaking kidding me? Steve Johnson was freaking excellent makeup, special makeup effects artist. I think he's still doing it. If I'm not mistaken, I might be, but I think I saw some recent videos of him. Shadow over Innsmouth is my all-time favorite HPL story. It is one of the greats, Brian Baugh. There is no doubt about it. You may have seen that graphic novel, the recent graphic novel by Gal Tanab, a Japanese artist, and the art is fantastic. Now, MS Matthew on YouTube has incorporated that art with Conrad Feininger's narration and some great soundtrack music. And we're going to look at that too. I need to remind you guys to check that out because it is freaking great. It's like kind of like what you might call a motion comic type of story. I think they're on chapter 5. So they've only got a few chapters left, but so far, so great. It is freaking awesome. Kevin Hellon is here. Hello, Kevin Hellon, my good fiend. Lord, man. Wait a second. I missed Steve Harrison. Hello, Steve Harrison. How are you doing? If I did miss you. Good Lord. Crazy Hungarian. Night off finally. Hello, everyone. Great to see you back. Crazy Hungarian. My good man. Dave Jane says, watch Dagon and listen to HB. Love both versions. Yes. Yeah, that's the Horror Babble version. And that's Ian something, that guy. He's good. He's good. He's good. As I say, it's the Horror Babble one, Conrad Feininger or Wayne June. All three of those cats they nail it. They really nail it. Once again, folks, that is the link to rent my film, Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1, for a mere $2. It's 2 hours long, 6 freaking segments of original sci-fi horror. And you support the show. You support the channel. How about them apples? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right now, folks. LL Cool Josh, where did you get that metal? Boy, that's the first time. Who is LL Cool Josh? That's what I want to know because he's answered like a question nobody else has asked. Where did you get that Metal Hurlant shirt? And this is the shirt, folks. There we go. That is a shirt that was originally made back in the 1970s. That is Mobius. Of course, that is the cover of issue number 1 of Metal Hurlant. It's that creature. And they sold these back in the late 70s. Now, they, of course, long gone, you know. This one I got, God, I want a year, maybe less than 2 years ago. Let's say somebody was making these. I got one, and there you go. It's just like one of those things. They're not even available anymore, my good man. So I don't know what to tell you, but I luckily snagged one. Let's put it that way. And I'm glad I did because I freaking love Metal Hurlong. Ain't no doubt about that, man. Where are we? And welcome to the show, LL Cool Josh. Dave James says, really like Jason X. That sleeping bag scene is hilarious. It is. It is. It as far as I'm concerned, it's got different elements to it, but it kind of rivals the Prophecy sleeping bag scene. Am I going to have to do that right now? I know I saw Eric Boyd was lusting after the Prophecy sleeping bag scene. So let's watch that first. It's got nothing to do with tonight, folks, but that is just one of the all-time great scenes from the 1978 film The Prophecy, directed by John Frankenheimer. Yes, the very same John Frankenheimer that directed The Manchurian Candidate. Think about that. Just kind of roll that around in your mind for a second. Good Lord. It's just classic. I love the creature, though. The man, bear, pig monster. Really good. Look, I'm not dissing The Prophecy. I think it's got some great scenes. I think it's got some really cringy freaking scenes in it. It's just another one of those, eco horror films from the 1970s, of which there were could have been hundreds, right? You guys know. You had all the animals going nuts and all that stuff. So it was another one of those, so that's kind of where that's at. Let's see here. Where are we? Oh yeah, Kojo. I remember watching Night of the Demons Part 3 back in 1998. It scared the shit out of me. I don't recall Night of the Demons Part 3. I did see Night of the Demons Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. But I did not see Night of the Demons Part 3. Crazy Hungarians says, happy Friday the 13th, Kevin Hella. Eric says, yes, there we go. That is it, folks. And so now you've seen The Prophecy sleeping bag. I'm just going to put this out there because we've seen that. We're going to watch this again. You've just seen it in the trailer, but it's worth repeating, folks. Hey. They're both, I don't know. There's something about camping horror scenes. If anybody knows of another funny one, those two are just hysterical. I love them, just top-notch entertainment, folks. Now let's get serious. All right. Enough of this levity. I swear to God, we need to focus, folks, and we are. We're diving in to that land, that horrifying land of Lovecraft and The Shadow over Innsmouth, the original novella written by the old gent in 1931. And, look, it's a 50-plus page. It's a short novella in reality. But, man, is it a freaking awesome story. Basically, it is about a young man who is taking a tour around Northeast, New England, Massachusetts, and so forth. And he hears about Innsmouth. He goes to Innsmouth on this rickety old bus. And the longer he's in Innsmouth, the more he realizes just how strange this town, this forgotten, dilapidated old town is. And it just gets more and more horrifying as he discovers more things. And it is just a fantastic story. And I'm kind of surprised, really, that it hasn't been adapted to my knowledge, more than twice. Okay. Now, once again, the 2001 film by Stuart Gordon, Dagon, which takes Dagon and Shadow over Innsmouth and combines them, and rightly so, because they are totally connected. And this weird Japanese flick called The Shadow over Innsmouth, which does definitely have all, the basic elements of the story in it, but it veers off in some really weird ways. I'm not quite sure what the hell was going on with that, but it is currently on Tubi, folks. Matter of fact, what I should do at this point, just before I forget, yeah, there it is. I'm going to drop the link into the chat. Okay. There you go. That is the link to the Japanese adaptation of The Shadow over Innsmouth. You can check it out at your leisure. It's on YouTube. It's pretty odd. I mean, it's very low budget. It is nothing, like Stuart Gordon's Dagon, because he had a fair budget for that film. So don't expect anything spectacular on the effects side or anything like that. But it's worth seeing. It's just worth seeing to see what the Japanese would do with an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. Now, we know that Gal Tanab is also, Japanese artist, Gal Tanab, has done the graphic novel. He's done several Lovecraft adaptations, but he did a graphic novel adaptation of The Shadow over Innsmouth as well. And it's excellent, okay? Now, the thing about that is that, let's see here. I've got a link. I think it's this. Or am I wrong? I'll take a look. No, this is it. This is so freaking good. God, you guys should. It's MSA Matthew. This guy on YouTube. What he's done is he has taken the oh boy, Gal Tanab art, and he's taken the Conrad Feininger narration, added music, and done a motion comic. Okay, that's in several parts. I think he's on part 5 right now. And that is the link to it. Highly recommended. You want to see some, I mean, it's just freaking great. I cannot say enough about it. It's fantastic. I love the MSA Matthews stuff. He's done other Lovecraft things. He did At the Mountains of Madness, which is freaking great. That's just another hardcore Lovecraft story. Highly recommended, but check it out if you get a chance. So, folks, what are the main differences? Now, in the Japanese adaptation of the story, of the Lovecraft story, Shadow over Innsmouth, there's certain accuracies, like, for instance, it is one character. This character goes to this place, remote town, dilapidated town. He finds all of these weird characters. And indeed, there is a connection with the characters and quote unquote deep ones, fish people, okay, in the town. And so to to that degree, it's accurate, more or less. It veers off into weird things in the video. You'll see. I don't want to give anything away because I'm sure some of you have not seen it. I just put the link in the chat, so check it out if you want to. The difference between the original Shadow over Innsmouth, the Lovecraft story, and Dagon, there's several kind of big differences. Now, I could understand Stuart Gordon wanted to make a film that would sell, right? Look, if you've got a $3 or $4 million budget to make a movie, well, they're pressuring you to, you're gonna have to sell that film. It's gonna have to be something that's, commercial in some respect. I understand that completely. So in Dagon, Stuart Gordon's film, he doesn't have one character, he's got four. These four, there's two couples, right? There's two couples, four people. They're on a boat and they're on a quote unquote vacation, boating around. And I believe it's off the shore of Spain. So they end up in this weird town on the coast of Spain, kind of a remote old town. And this town, of course, it's Innsmouth. Okay. And the lead character he kind of sets himself apart from the other three, and he becomes our main character, much like in the original novella. So that holds up, right? And there's a lot of sequences that are pretty much right on from the novella. His escape from the Gilman Hotel as they're trying to kill him, that whole thing is covered in the film, and it's covered very well. It's very tense. The makeup effects are fantastic. The combination of Innsmouth and Dagon, in my opinion, work really well, because it is in the Shadow over Innsmouth, there is the Order of Dagon. There's the hall that he finds, and that's where, of course, they have meetings, secret meetings, and weird ceremonies and so forth. So that crosses over to Dagon perfectly. I think he did a great job with that. But yeah, he had to basically take a 50-page novella and kind of add stuff. He didn't pad it. There's no padding in Dagon, the film. It's really like all there. I mean, what he's added makes sense, and it makes the film move. There's not a lazy moment in that film. It's very, very well done. If you somehow have not seen Stuart Gordon's Dagon, it's on, as far as I'm aware, it's on Tubi. I'm sure it's on other platforms. You can watch for free. But it's the 2001 film Dagon by Stuart Gordon. You got to check it out. The acting is really good. As I said, the special makeup effects, great. Obviously, Stuart Gordon, who is one of the only directors, in my opinion, who ever understood Lovecraft. I mean, of course, Gordon is behind Reanimator, Bride of Reanimator, and Dagon. So he understood Lovecraft, like Guillermo del Toro understands Lovecraft. And for years, Guillermo del Toro tried to get the money, which would have been somewhere in and around $100 million. I believe that's what he was shooting for. $100 million to make At the Mountains of Madness. And the studios just never agreed to it. The whole project fell through. As far as I know, it's dead in the water. And it probably will never happen, unfortunately. If anybody could get the money to do a big budget adaptation, it would have been Guillermo del Toro, obviously. But even they rejected him. That just goes to show you right there. What can you say? What can you say? I don't know. But yeah, so let me get this. I'm going to take this out for a second. This is the book that, I've got a few books with Shadow over Innsmouth, but I do recommend this book. You can find it on eBay. It's probably on Amazon. It is H.P. Lovecraft, the complete fiction. It is a freaking heavy-duty tome. And it's got all the fiction from Lovecraft, all the short stories, and so forth. And, of course, it does have Shadow over Innsmouth. I forget what I paid. This was years ago. I bought this, and I think I bought it for like 15 or 20 bucks. I'm sure you can still snag it for 30 or 40 bucks today, and it is quite the volume. So highly recommended. But let's see what some other people have chimed in with some opinions about the story and the adaptations. Let's take a look. PBR Street Gang is here. Hello, PBR Street Gang. Great to see you, my good man. The Shadow over Innsmouth explores the themes of isolation, forbidden knowledge, and cosmic horror. Lovecraft, known for his unique writing style, blending the mundane and the mysterious to create a deep sense of dread. Yes, that is correct, Radamus. That is, where'd you pull that from? Sounds very familiar. Once again, folks, that is the link to the Japanese adaptation of, it's either the Japanese adaptation or it's the MSA Matthew adaptation, and this one also. Wayne Butler's here. Hello, Wayne Butler. Good to see you. MSA is way, way cool. Yes, I concur. PBR Street Gang. I bought the graphic novel by Galtanab. It's not great art. Oh, it's not great art, and it's of course it's got great art. Good Lord, I'm losing my eyesight, Radamus. For Christ's sake, it does. Man, you got to check out the MSA Matthew motion comic, using the Galtanab art. Freaking great, man! I love it. It sets the mood beautifully, like they did with At the Mountains of Madness. It's really cool. Dave James says the Dagon film starts fast and doesn't slow down one bit. Yeah, it's absolutely just kind of balls to the wall. Stuart Gordon is great about keeping pace. There's that old saying, only love pads the film. Screw that shit, man. There ain't no padding in Stuart Gordon films, typically speaking, and Dagon is a great example of just, really well-paced, well-done filmmaking. Stuart Gordon was one of our great American filmmakers. There's no doubt about that, and I'll tell you a shocking story, folks. You want to hear a shocking story about Stuart Gordon? Listen up. Several years ago, it was less than 10 years ago, Stuart Gordon did a Kickstarter campaign. What he wanted to do was a feature-length version, just like 80 or 90-minute version of the stage play that Jeffrey Combs had been doing for years off Broadway of Edgar Allan Poe. Jeffrey Combs as Edgar Allan Poe, reciting poetry, reading the stories, acting, like really getting into it. You can see some clips on YouTube. Of course, Jeffrey Combs just nailed it, hit it out of the park. Absolutely fantastic Edgar Allan Poe. So Stuart Gordon wanted to make a film version of that with Jeffrey Combs. He launched a Kickstarter. The goal of the Kickstarter was $300 and something thousand. It may have been $350,000, right? It's Stuart Gordon. This is after Reanimator, after Dagon, Edmund, which is a stunning film, King of the Ants, another great film. Stuart Gordon, for fuck's sake. the campaign failed. He only got about $80,000 of the $350 that he was looking for. Stuart Gordon. Think about that. Think about that, folks. I mean, God, I mean, talk about just a totally effed up world we're living in. The guy couldn't even get $350,000 to do a Poe adaptation with Jeffrey Combs. That just kind of, to me, like to a filmmaker, a creator, whatever, that hits me. When I read that story, it just hit me in the gut. I was just like, holy shit, man. You think, well, Stuart Gordon, he's one of our great American filmmakers. What? He couldn't even get $350,000 to make this freaking movie? The guy, they should have been throwing money at him. Incredible. So, there you go. But let's get back to, Dagon. If you have not seen the film, folks, highly recommended. It doesn't stray far from the path of the novella. I think the way that it's done, and it is, of course, in modern times, he doesn't do a period piece because that would have been insanely expensive. But he does a great job, without having to resort to period trappings. And the acting, once again, is fantastic. I think it's great. The lead character is great. He was also the same actor that appeared as the lead character in a Masters of Horror, which was another Lovecraft story, great Lovecraft story called Dreams in the Witch House. Highly recommended. That is Masters of Horror. I believe that was season 1 of that, but the same actor. And he's just got, he kind of I thought he was going to be like the successor of Jeffrey Combs, because at that point, Jeffrey Combs is getting a bit long in the tooth. This guy comes along. He's a great actor. I thought they were going to do more and more stuff, and only a few things with this particular actor, but he's really good in them. So highly recommended. Masters of Horror, Dreams in the Witch House. And of course, and that was Stuart Gordon as well. Dreams in the Witch House in the Masters of Horror segment. And of course, Dagon, 2001 by Stuart Gordon. Radama says, I saw some of the pre-conceptual art animation of the Cthulhu monster by Guillermo del Toro. Yeah, they were doing pre-production stuff. He was doing stuff for At the Mountains of Madness. That he was totally serious. They just didn't want to cough up $100 million. You know how they cough up $100 million for these Marvel Universe pieces of crap movies that are just so cringeworthy and garbage CGI bullshit? It just boggles the mind, of course, because it makes them money. Sure. Like a lot of other crap makes money, like Taylor Swift. But he could not get the money together. The studios would not dish out the $100 million. And this was over years. This guy was, Del Toro was trying to get it to make that film. Once again, it's just like, what a world. It's the reality of it. FST George is here. Hello, FST George. Good to see you. I was hoping Del Toro's Mountains of Madness would have happened. I was too. Matter of fact, it looked like it was going to for a while. And then everything just fell apart. FST George says, highly recommended the adaptation of Pickman's model in the Netflix Cabinet of Curiosity series. Good stuff. Good recommendation, FST George. Dave Jane says, Del Toro and Lovecraft are a match made in heaven. Indeed. Well, it's like Stuart Gordon. I think that is the thing, folks, when we talk about adaptations of H.P. Lovecraft and understanding the universe, the Cthulhu mythos and otherwise of Lovecraft. Once again, to me, the two big filmmakers like major filmmakers that you might call studio filmmakers are Del Toro and Stuart Gordon. Of course, unfortunately, Stuart Gordon passed away a few years ago. So Del Toro's the only one left. Now, to be fair, Richard Stanley did do a very good adaptation of The Color Out of Space a few years ago, starring Nicolas Cage. I like that film a lot. And once again, there's a couple of things that I was like kind of shaking my head at, wondering why they did that in the film. But for the most part, it's really good, very atmospheric, and well done. And Richard Stanley was supposed to do another Lovecraft adaptation, this time of the Dunwich Horror. Now, that might be my favorite Lovecraft story. The Dunwich Horror is just, God, it's got so many great elements. Forget that 1970s pile of shite with Dean Stockwell. That is just, it's a piece of crap. So it's nothing like that. Read the story. It's hardcore, intense, really good. Stanley was supposed to do an adaptation of it. Then he got embroiled in some kind of spousal abuse case or something. He was accused of spousal abuse, something. And I think that kind of put the kibosh on doing Dunwich Horror, unfortunately. So that's where that's at. Udama says, I actually like the Japanese adaptation. There's some great frog masks. Yeah, look, for a no-budget adaptation for Adamus, it's all right. It's just that they add some other shit that makes no sense. Like the geisha girl that keeps showing up. Has nothing to do with jack squat, just it's kind of like we need a female kind of love interest in here, so let's get the geisha girl on. That type of shite. Combs would be a great Poe, and he is. Check it out, Steve Harrison. There's some clips of Jeffrey Combs as Poe on YouTube. PBR says, is there going to be a Halloween costume this year? I have no idea. Haven't thought about it, PBR. Probably. I don't know if there's going to be a contest or not, but there will be a Halloween show, and I will be in costume. So I can tell you that. As far as a contest, I have no idea. Steve says, shame about the Combs film not making it. Before movies were cursed by woke, they were cursed by family-friendly flicks. The townspeople of Innsmouth are worshipping a fish god Dagon. Yep, that is it. That's why Dagon figures so well into Shadow over Innsmouth. Dagon, good movie. Masters of Horror, The Right to Die. I'm one of us doing something with that. JW says, I hate CGI too. Yeah, I concur, JW. It fucking sucks. I tried. It's just so painful. It's just so free. Like, that Will Smith iRobot, which I don't even know what the hell that was in the first place, but it's just loaded with, it's like 90% CGI bad robots. It's much like that remake of Total Recall. God, just CGI up the wazoo, and it's bad. I mean, it's like watching a video game. I guess if you dig video games, folks. The Dom says, Deep Ones rewards its followers by bringing them golden fish. Yep, that is correct. The townspeople start intermingling with the Deep Ones and become more fish-like. Yeah, it's inbreeding in the town. Radamus. That is quite true. And you get that idea. That idea comes across in Dagon in the film adaptation as well. In the there is mention of it. There's a connection to it in the Japanese adaptation. It's in there. Let's put it that way. But so there you go, folks. I think that in the first place, I highly recommend reading H.P. Lovecraft's the Shadow over Innsmouth. Also, several audio narrations of the book are fantastic. Dagon, if you haven't seen it, the Stuart Gordon film from 2001, check it out. It is really good in a very, very decent adaptation of both The Shadow over Innsmouth and Dagon, in my opinion. That's the one to catch. And maybe, who knows, maybe somebody in the future will do it really strict to the story, which would only really involve one character and, of course, the other people that he encounters. But that's how the story is written. It's just first person. It's this guy, taking a trip. He lands in Innsmouth, and all hell starts breaking loose. And it's great, man. It's just the hell of a fuck. There's all the stuff in the Gilman house is so damn creepy and well done. It's just top-notch horror. That's why Lovecraft is Lovecraft. Yeah, well, I'm not going to draw comparisons or whatever, but needless to say, look, he's popular as hell today. Guy died in 1937. You know what I'm saying? And when he died, he was broke. It wasn't worth a penny. Not a penny to his freaking name. It's like Poe. Poe was relatively broke, died in a hospital. What can, I don't know what to tell you, but I can tell you this: Stephen King will die a very, very wealthy man. Let's just kind of put that into perspective. Okay, well, that ends our look at Dagon and The Shadow over Innsmouth, my good fiends. I hope you enjoyed that. The third installment. Well, let's take a look. Where the hell am I? Okay, we covered that. We did that. There's that. All right, good. So now it's time to go over to the old website, folks. Oh, yeah. What the hell am I doing? You know what? I almost forgot, folks. I did play it at the very beginning of the show when I was running the trailers. But once again, here is an excellent little trailer for Stuart Gordon's Dagon. Excellent kinetic trailer. Did you notice a couple of things, folks? Now, this is 2001. I'm just going to play just the beginning of this. Check this out. Both of those things. It is the year 2001. This film is R-rated. It has the classic old rating card, and it also has the really old Lionsgate Entertainment logo. 2001, folks. 23 years ago. I mean, wow. It's really weird. I just, I don't know. When I saw that, grabbed the trailer to show tonight, I was like, really? They had that was that old? They had the R-rated, the classic R-rated card, and of course the old freaking old ass Lionsgate logo on there. Yeah, they were, I guess, into the early 2000s. It was still like that traditional PGR X rating type of thing, I guess. Just an interesting tidbit, a little look into the not so distant past, my good fiends. Before we get off the subject of Lovecraft, you got to check this out. Now, they just added these, folks. I wanted to bring this to your attention. Yes, on Tubi, they just added the 2 movies made by the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. The Whisper in the Darkness and The Call of Cthulhu. Now on Tubi. If you haven't seen these, you gotta see them. They're freaking awesome adaptations of both of those Lovecraft stories. Really good. Call of Cthulhu is very interesting. It's shot in black and white, and it's shot like a silent film. They had a budget of $50,000 for that particular film. And then The Whisper in the Darkness, they actually, from what I read, they had a $600,000 budget, so a much bigger budget, but it shows. It really looks good. There's only to me, my only complaint in The Whisper in the Darkness are a couple of shots of the creatures, the Migos, and because they use CGI, and it's kind of obvious CGI. That's it. Otherwise, the cinematography is really good. The acting is very good, typically speaking. It's well done. It's a close adaptation of the Lovecraft story. Both on Tubi, folks. They just added these on Tubi. The Whisper in the Darkness and The Call of Cthulhu. Check them out. You're going to dig the hell out of them. I mean, it's like really good Lovecraft, low budget Lovecraft adaptations. Okay, that's what I'm talking, folks. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I just had to get that. Okay, let's see what the hell else do we got. I guess that's it. All right. Let me get over here and get to the old horror anthology movies because I got my lineup. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes. Yes, folks. There we are. All right, we're set. Now I'm going to go back to the chat because I know a few people have chimed in after the Lovecraft to-do, if you will. Okay, so that. Okay, Radamas says, Dagon historically was worshipped by the Amorites and the Philistines. It's in the Bible. Okay, I'm just going to take your word for that, Radamas. I've not read anything about that. You might be correct. I have no idea. Dave James says that movie was a lot of wet. John says, I'll tell you one thing that ending surprised me. And Dagon, I thought he was going to save his girlfriend, but he ends up swimming away with the tentacle girl. My tentacle girl, will you be mine? Tentacle Girl, folks. That's what we're talking about. She's great too. She's a Spanish actress, and she's just perfect. Perfect and day gone. Well, here we are, folks. It's Friday the 13th. We're in it, except for Werewolf, who's experiencing Saturday the 14th, starring Richard Benjamin right now. Instead, we get Friday the 13th, starring all the Friday the 13th hotties. Oh, yeah. We're going to be taking a look at them tonight, folks. And I invite everybody watching to chime in. Who's your favorite Friday the 13th babe? It could be a final girl. It doesn't have to be one of the wanton, promiscuous babes that always get knocked off by Jason. It doesn't matter. I mean, obviously, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, folks, okay? I'm saying that right now. Typically speaking, the final girls are a bit more plain. I'm just going to say it. I came right out and said it. They're kind of cute. They're not like va 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 voom, like the scream queens, like the bit part scream queens that get naked, have sex, and get knocked off before getting knocked up. Let's just put it that way. So we're going chronologically, by the way, folks. We start off, this, of course, is the beautiful poster, the original Friday the 13th, 1980, Sean Cunningham classic poster. I love that. It's just, it's great, man. It's great. And from that original 1980 film, folks, I think you might agree, you may not. But as far as I'm concerned, the hot babe from, let me make sure you guys are seeing this. Yes, you are. Janine Taylor. We're looking at Janine Taylor right now, folks. For me, in the first film, she was it. She was the one. I mean, there were some other really hot-looking babes, but they just didn't quite rate with Janine Taylor. She was, I don't know, there was a natural beauty about her, and look at that butt crack, okay? Just feast your eyes on that fabulous butt crack, folks, of Janine Taylor. Let's go down. There she is. And she had to have sex, didn't she? Oh, yeah, she had to have sex. And there she is peeking out from behind a curtain. That is just, I mean, holy Toledo. That's my idea of the, at least the original film hottie. Janine Taylor is the one, in my opinion. Now, let's go to the chat. I'm going to see if anybody's arguing that. Nobody's arguing it. Okay, so apparently I am correct. Werewolf feels left out. Well, yeah, I don't know what to say, Werewolf. Look, you have the stock market advantage, okay? We don't. So we have to have some kind of an advantage, and that is enjoying Friday the 13th right now. Next up, of course, we move to the second film. Oh, God. This is just beautiful, beautiful. Friday the 13th, part 2. And, of course, Kristen Baker, who is just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. What can I say about Kristen Baker? She's, she's just totally hot. There's something about this. Well, of course, it's her short shorts. And I can only wonder if she used Nair. And some people may get that joke. Most will probably not. But there's that fine butt right there. Look at that derriere, folks. But it doesn't stop there. Of course, she does take a midnight skinny dip at Camp Crystal Lake And we do, of course, have a little bit of her. Well, look, we have footage of her walking around, walking her dog and shaking that thing. Okay.
Muffin?
Poor Muffin. After oh, poor Muffin. You know, I'm sure she feels bad for the dog as well. After a few weeks at Camp Crystal. But in any case, I mean, can you deny Kirsten? Can you really? Let's take a look and see who's chatting in on the Kirsten action. Not yet. On the first movie, okay, excellent. Nailed the hair. Who wears short shorts? Kirsten wears short shorts. For Nair, it's short shorts, something like that. I don't know. And we're gonna get to Juliana Gill. Yes, Radamus. You're way ahead of the game. Okay, guys. Poor Muffin, yeah. And she was abused throughout the film. Yeah, I don't know about her dog, but she gets my vote. Oh yes. Okay, well keep it tallied, folks. So we got Kirsten here. Oh God, the fun never stops. We're moving on to Friday the 13th, Part 3. My good fiends, and none other than Tracy Savage. Oh, what a name. I wonder if she is. Well, in any case, that's Tracy Savage in a bikini about to get into a van to do God knows what. You know what I mean? And I think that you do. Let's just move on down and see what we got. Yeah, there she is laying out. Tracy Savage is pretty damn swank and hot in Friday the 13th, Part 3. I think you have to agree. And here she is, of course, taking a shower after a long day of being chased by Jason. Okay. That's what I'm talking about right there. Tracy Savage in Part 3. Uh-oh. It's Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Well, for some reason, this is actually Friday the 13th, Part 4. They call it the final chapter for some dumbass reason because it wasn't close to the final chapter. But this is Judy Aronson. And she's getting randy in this particular scene. And she's pretty hot. And you see a lot of her, obviously, needless to say, in this film. But she's, she's up there. She's got the goods. Let's put it that way, and rather pleasing to watch. And now this is Part 5, right? Yeah, this is Part 5. Whatever the hell that. Maybe it's the New Blood, Friday the 13th. I don't know. I'm not a huge Friday the 13th fan. I'm just there for the chicks. Okay. That's all I'm saying right now. And we got Goth Girl in Part 5. And I believe this is Juliet Cummins, but I'm not 100% sure. I can tell you this. The other chick in part 5 is Rebecca Wood, and this is Rebecca Wood. And Rebecca Wood, and she did a few times, okay, in the film. Let's put it that way. And for that, she deserved a horrifying death at the hands of Jason Voorhees. Next up, we are moving on to part 6 and some chick, Darcy. All right. God, there's so many of these chicks. It's Darcy DeMoss. Yes, riding that mare till sunup, folks, right there. Darcy DeMoss, she gets it. I like her. I like her a lot. Look at that. I mean, she's just got that look that lets you know she's going to get her head chopped off in about 2 minutes after sex in Friday the 13th, part 6. Right? But she's up there. In my opinion, in my estimation so far, yeah, she's just got that kind of look, you know, that wild 80s look that I want to know better. Of course, she's pretty hot too. Now, she's not, yeah, well, this one, she's a little too nerdy. There's something about her that it doesn't scream wild sex, folks. It screams, let me alone. I want to listen to this mortal coil for about 20 hours and take a lot of Xanax. Something like that. This one, no. She's hot. Yeah, Tracy Savage. She's a hot one. Of course, Kirsten. I love her. And Jeanette, the chicks here. This is Elizabeth Kaitan. I guess it's Kaitan. I don't know. But it's Elizabeth Kaitan in Friday the 13th, part 7. And she's a cutie. A nudie cutie right there. But there's also in part 7, you got Heidi Kozak. And here she is about to jump in the water for a little skinny dipping session, which is pretty hot. And there she is in the water. So we can get a good shot at those fine buttocks and long legs. And I skipped 8 and 9. I don't even know. Whatever. I looked. I didn't see any real hot babe action personally. Maybe some of you guys have a different idea. I just went directly to Jason X, folks. And Lena Doig. Sorry. God, what did I fuck that up entirely? Let me just. It's not Lena. It's Lexa Doig. That's her name. Lexa Doig is really hot in Jason X. This is the 2001. I think so. It's 2001 Friday the 13th film, of course. And she is also the final girl in the film, but she also happens to be really fucking smoking hot. And she does kick butt. There she is being revived on the slab. And here she is with that come hither look that I like a lot. Okay. She is looking really good in that. So in any case, folks, yeah, you know the scene here. I got some Lexa Doig happening. Let's see here. Well, we're gonna have to watch a little more. It's only a 4-minute thing here, folks, but I think you want to watch some. It's not only Lex. Let's look at the other girls. There's Lexa Doig. She is the official final girl of Jason X, and she's hot. Then, of course, we have Alexis Angus. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. It's Christy Angus. Sorry. Christy Angus, plays the ship scientist. And of course, she's studying the corpse of Jason there aboard the ship. There she is, looking very hot while she's taking off Jason's mask, surgically removing it from his head. And of course, Jason does revive and puts her face into a freaking vat of, I don't know what. But in any case, it freezes her face, and then he breaks her face off. That's how she dies. Then we have the android, which is portrayed by Lisa Ryder in Jason X. Also, to me, I like her. I think she's a hottie. Some people found her kind of annoying, but I think she's pretty damned hot. Okay. And I think it may be that get up too. That kind of, I don't know. She's got all the right proportions. Let's just put it that way. And that's why I put her in this. And then we have Miss Side Boob. I like calling this chick Side Boob. It's Melissa Ade. She's also in Jason X, but she has this costume. You notice that, right? It's this costume that is held together side to side by these little bars, and it displays a good, let me just see if I'm going to bring this up a bit. Oh, what the fuck just happened? I guess not. I guess that's the best you're going to get on that. I hope you can see that, but it's really quite top-notch side boob, folks, from Melissa Ade. So, in any case, that is, before we get on to Friday the 13th, 2009, I got the trailer. I think we should watch it again to absorb with fascination and reverence the hotties from all of these Friday the 13th films. Let me get back to the comments real quick. Steve Harrison, wah, wah, wee, wah. That's easy for you to say. Oh, yeah, Rebecca Woods. And she did. I remember that video because I watched it. And you were all showing the beautiful women in all their glory. Verdama says, Elizabeth Catan gets my vote. She's a perfect 10. There we go, folks. Lexa was also in Andromeda, the TV show. Ah, right. Of course. Stop nipple quashing, Mike. Yeah, we got to keep it PG, Radamus. Otherwise, YouTube is going to pull the freaking live show. Okay, that's what happens. Someday when you may do a channel of your own, you'll know what's going on. FST George says liquid nitrogen, thank you, head dunk is brutal. It is brutal. He dunks her head in the liquid nitrogen, freezes her face, then breaks her face off of her freaking head. That is just one that's one of the greatest, most insane kill scenes in all of the Friday the 13th movies. No doubt about it. I believe Lisa Ryder also played an android in the science fiction series Dark Matter. It went only 3 seasons. Interesting Wayne Butler. All right, folks. Before we move on to 2009, let's check out the 4-minute trailer that I made again so we can kind of look at a lot of these chicks and a few other final girls that are part of the video. Okay, there we go. A little look, a last look at the Friday the 13th final girls and some of the babes involved. And now we go to Friday the 13th, the remake from 2009. Now, it sucked ass. There's no doubt about that. However, there are a couple of girls in this freaking film that are absolutely stunning. The first one is this chick, who is Willa Ford. And yeah, once again, she goes she goes topless water skiing, which is fantastic. And I think that's when she gets killed under a pier. And she's just got spectacular breasts. There is no doubt about that. Very hot, very hot. And also in the 2009 film, even better, if you can believe it or not, is this babe. And this is Juliana Gill. Unbelievable breasts. She loves getting naked, you could tell in the film. And she is just one of those fantastic wanton hussies from the Friday the 13th series. Even though this is the lame remake, I had to bring these two chicks in on the scene because they're just really spectacular, you know? That's all there is to it. But having said that, even though they are freaking spectacular, personally, for me, I got to go back, folks. I've got to go back to the first one and Janine Taylor. For me, she's really, of the Friday the 13th series overall, I think the hottest chick. She's the hot, and it's for a couple of reasons. In the first place, it's a 1980 film, right? You know, she's all natural. There's no BS plastic surgery going on with Janine Taylor. That's a fact. Okay. And she's just freaking hot. She's got all of the goods. And, you know, I mean, she does die horribly. There's no doubt about that, at the hands of Jason. But she gets my number one pick. Now, you know, it's, for me, it's kind of like, yeah, choosing like, who is the hottest of all of them. It's kind of a BS thing. I mean, if I had to choose, I would choose Janine Taylor from the first film. However, that being said, there are several in the Friday the 13th series that are just spectacular, you know? So it's really subjective. Let's get back to the chat and see what people have said. Steve Harrison says Tom Savini based the original Jason on a deformed child from his boyhood neighborhood. Many countries didn't know what a hockey mask was until Friday the 13th. Radamus, I'm definitely watching Jason X tonight. You got to watch it, Radamus. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out. It is thoroughly entertaining. It is hilarious. David Cronenberg is in the film, folks. Look, you get David Cronenberg to agree to be in a freaking movie, in a speaking role. What? Are you kidding me? It's got to be worth seeing. And I know this film got flack out the wazoo when it came out. I don't care. I still think it's the second best Friday the 13th film ever made. Next to the original Sean Cunningham 1980 film, Jason X 2001 is the shit. There ain't no doubt about it, because it's the parody elements. It satirizes the very Friday the 13th films that it came from, and it takes place in outer space. Come on. It's kind of like a sci-fi horror film. It kind of takes it into that realm of sci-fi horror, which the other ones do not have. Thomas Fairfall says, I'm not sure I could go 10 on any of the Friday the 13th girls. Maybe 2 or 3 are 8s. Of those, Kirsten Baker from Friday the 13th, the second film, appeals to me the most, and she is pretty damn hot. I just love it when she's searching for Muffin. Folks, when Kirsten is out there searching for Muffin, I don't know if you can really beat that as well. Steve Harrison says, there was a trend to do sci-fi versions of franchise characters, and Jason X was the best. The Leprechaun sci-fi sucked balls. I guess going sci-fi is the death nail to a franchise. Now, there you go, folks. All right. Well, here, let me at least get on to something that's snacky. How about that? See if I can bring that in. Oopsie. There's her, too. She's pretty hot. Tracy Savage. She's got a savage look about her. I do like her a lot. I mean, that's a butt, folks. But look at that butt. Good old Kirsten right there. There we go. That's a nice shot. That's a nice shot to stay on, really. And I think it just warrants that little clip once again. What the fuck she was doing in there, but it's the shorts, folks. That's what it's all about. And one more time for good measure, it's the camper scene on the V deck.
Hey, you want
to Jason X, folks. Jason X. It's the one. Watch the original film 1980 and then just watch Jason X. You will be totally satisfied with the entire Friday the 13th series. Okay. That's all I got to say with that. Good Lord. Oh my God. Well, in any case, folks, that is it. That wraps up our show for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. And indeed, next week, as I said, it's going to be the fabulous finale of the 1960s. You're not going to want to miss this because, as I said before, you're going to see some films that you are quite familiar with and that you love. And you're going to see some films that you've never heard of and you may never want to hear from again. No, just kidding. That you may want to see if you get a chance. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know, folks. But I think you're going to dig the hell out of the 1960s finale going on next Friday night on the Horror Mike Show. Let's get back to one last comment. Thomas says, thanks for the show, Mike. You're very welcome, Thomas. And, of course, as is tradition, we're going to lead off here with the Starfires and Linda. Everybody have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.